Condition-based monitoring is also a very common scenario, and there are many ways you can do this with Crosser. This is one way that I show you here, but a very powerful one. So here we have used a dedicated module that is specifically designed for these type of use cases. It's called the data trigger module, and it's the one in the middle here, where it says check conditions. So this is a module that you can use to check any number of data sources, and they can come from any type of source. I've just made some examples here. An OPC server to get machine data, an HTTP input to get data from HTTP clients, and an MQTT client to get data from an MQTT broker. But it could be any type of input that you use. But the key thing is that it should be data sources that produce data at some sequence. It's not a single value, but where you get updates of values and you want to validate these values. So inside this data trigger module, you can then define any number of conditions or triggers, as we call them, where you can combine data from multiple sources and define different types of conditions. You can also involve time in these conditions. So you can create conditions like, let me know when the temperature is above a threshold for more than 10 minutes. Or you can combine data from multiple sources and trigger when the value on some sensor is above a threshold and another sensor has a specific value and so forth. So you can create as complex conditions as you want. And with each of these trigger definitions, you can also associate your own custom metadata that you can then use in the downstream flow after this module to take different actions. So I show two examples here. One is to create work orders in an ERP system, and then we could attach metadata that, for example, defines the work order ID that we want to use to create a specific work order in the ERP system. If you want to send notifications when one of these conditions trigger, we could include the message we want to send and to whom it should be sent. Now I use Slack as an example here, but you could send an email or a text message in a similar fashion. But here you have full freedom in adding whatever information that you need to be associated with each of these triggers that you have defined, so that you can take appropriate actions at the end. So with a very simple flow like the one you see on the screen, you can actually monitor thousands of sensors or whatever it is that you use as a data source, and then take individual actions based on these conditions that you have defined. So this is a pretty powerful flow, but still very simple. And can be used for a lot of different condition monitoring use cases. But as I mentioned, there are other ways you can create condition-based monitoring with Crosser. This is one way, but I would say probably the most powerful way that you can build these type of use cases.